Hey yo, hey guys. So I've talked before about doing a Shatter Me vlog. I've already said it's one of my favorite series ever, and I'm not even done it yet. So fans of the Shatter Me series and Haramafi will know that there's a main trilogy for Shatter Me, which was like originally supposed to be the first three. Like it was originally just supposed to be a trilogy. But then she stretched it out for like 6 more books and wrote even more novellas. So like, cash grab or not, like I don't blame her. The series is popular and like there's just so much to expand on. Because really in the trilogy we're focusing only on Juliet, Warner, Adam, Omega Point, and their little, like just Sector 45. We know nothing else about the rest of the world, and we don't know them. And there's a lot of characters that we don't really know that much about. There's like Ian and Lily or someone. I don't know. There's just a lot to build off of from the base trilogy. So I said I'm going to do a vlog about reading the rest of the series. I don't know if I'm going to do one video for each one or do the next 3 in one big video. But guess what, y'all? The story is here. So I know about books, by the way. I refuse to buy books. I will get them like solely from my library, unless my library does not have it and I'm desperate. Like there's one series on my library that I was reading when I was younger. I was reading the series, and then for some reason they didn't have the 4th out of the 6 books. So, you know, there's situations like that where I will go out and get it. But honestly, like, by going to a library, you just save so much money. So, like, here's a Stormy from the library. You know, obviously boring stuff from libraries, sometimes they're not in, like, the best condition. But, you know, it's worth saving. So here we are, Restore Me by Haramafi. I love the covers in Shatter Me, by the way. They make it the eyes, and it's just so cute. So we're gonna do a little time lapse of me reading this. I'm gonna time lapse the whole thing. I like reading in chunks, filming every time. Or maybe not every time. Maybe just a couple times I'll do a time lapse and put that in the video. We'll see how it goes. You know, this is my first reading vlog / book review. So, yeah, we'll be reading Restore Me. This cover, beautiful as always for Haramafi. The stark green eye. And the eyelashes are feathers for some reason. I'm sure the symbolism will come into play in the book. And like so far in the series, all the eyes on the covers of these books have been like crying something. Like I think in Shatter Me, it was like the first book, it was just like roots of trees, of like dead dying trees. And then here, Restore Me, it looks like her skin is like falling off her bottom eyelid. I'm not sure if these eyes are supposed to be Juliet's eyes, but I mean they could be. Anyways, I just thought it was a really interesting choice, and there's a bunch of birds in the background. There's a whole thing in this like world where because of climate change birds don't fly anymore, so I guess that's interesting. And the world is like healing. This is after Juliet like takes over the world, or at least Sector 45. Spoilers, by the way, obviously. So there's always a little line at the top of the book. This one, it says, "The past will not forget me." So, yay, interesting. It's not my favorite out of all of them, but it's very Juliet. It's very Shatter Me. So here's the blurb on the back. "Here in the dark, dusty corners of my mind, I feel a strange relief. I am always welcome here, in my loneliness, in my sadness. In this abyss, there is a rhythm I remember. The steady drop of tears, the temptation to retreat, the shadow of my past. The life I choose to forget has not, will never, ever forget me." Very poetic. Again, very Haramafi, Juliet, Shatter Me. So yeah, there's not much else to say about this. You know, I like the cover. I like the blurb on the back. Oh yes, and one more note before I actually read this. like, I heard from a friend who I was buddy reading this with, but then she got way further ahead because the library that she gets her books from, they arrived way faster than my holds on the books. So she's already on Imagine Me, the last book. Meanwhile, I'm here at the 4th book, Restore Me. So anyways, I heard from her that the titles of all these books, like Shatter Me, Unravel Me, Ignite Me, Restore Me, that's what she does to Warner. At least in the main trilogy. Like in the first book with Warner, like obsessing over her and wanting to use her to like achieve his dreams of not taking over the world. Spoilers. But she like runs away. Obviously, she does not want to go with him because she thinks he is bad. So she shatters him. And then the next book, like, most of the Juliet Warner interaction is when Warner is captured in Omega Point, and I kind of get to know each other some more. Juliet realizes that maybe he's not so bad after all. He just following in the footsteps of his father, whose name is Paris, by the way. I think it's so silly that his first name is Paris. His name is Paris Anderson. And I understand why he uses his last name, but anyways. So she unravels him, and then fans know there's a tattoo on his back that says Ignite. And I can't remember the reasoning why I got it. I think it was just random, or there's some like meaning behind it, but I guess it was important enough for me to remember. And then in the final book, she finally falls in love with him and they get together, and she actually sees him truly for the first time. Well, maybe the second time, because in Unravel Me they kind of started their connection. But yeah, so Ignite Me, and now we have Restore Me. I don't know if it'll still be about Warner. Maybe she's restoring the world. But yeah, super excited to read Restore Me. There's my super long intro for this probably really long vlog. We'll see. But yeah, so I will get to reading this book, and I'll see what kind of clip I decide to record next. I really have no system for this video. If I have an interesting thought about the book, or a comment, or an update, or I want to summarize a bit of what happened, or just get my thoughts out, then I'll do that. We'll see how this works. We'll experiment a little bit. But yeah, here's the actual end of the intro. I'm gonna get to reading this, film it, record it. Bye guys. So it looks like there's some POVs in this book. We have a title heading actually for this one. It actually says Juliet. So like, I hope and pray to God that we will get a Kenji POV. Because if you did not know, Kenji is my absolute favorite character. He's so funny. He's like that friend that's really annoying but means well, and you like make fun of each other, but it's like all in good fun. And he's like flirty but in an ironic way, and he's kind of just joking around most of the time. I hope he does find a real love interest eventually though, but I'll be okay if he doesn't. Because honestly, like Kenji could carry an entire his own book probably. So also hope we get a Warner perspective too, but it's interesting. Kenji ruined Warner's hair. Is this really something I should be commenting on this more into the story? No, I just think it's funny. Warner. Alright, y'all, so there's a little progress check. So I am 299 out of 435 pages through. So like, originally I was gonna do an update at 50% at halfway through, but I didn't get an opportunity to record, and I could not stop reading this book. So it's been really good so far, honestly. I'm gonna talk about what I think, and then we'll do another update when I finish. Ibrahim's siblings is the daughter and son of the Supreme Commander of Asia. So at this point, Hader's been polite to Juliet, and then he's like all angry at Warner because he didn't tell her about them. But he seems a little suspicious. I'm not sure where they're gonna take this Hader character. But Nazira, I need to talk about like her and Kenji. I said at the beginning of this video that I hope that Kenji will find his true love, and I think he has. It's his like first crush. He's so awkward around her. It's just such a different side of Kenji, and I'm all for it, honestly. And Nazira, she's like shown that she's against the regime, but I'm still not sure how to feel about her. I feel like she's gonna turn out to like help them and be a big addition to their little resistance. And Warner and Kenji, like at the beginning of the book, Juliet trying to force them to be friends, spend time together, and their interactions are just hilarious, honestly. Like, they'll be hurling insults at each other, and I honestly agree with both of them. And then when Juliet says she won't try to force them to be friends anymore, they're kind of agreeing. So like, you know, it's kind of ironic. I don't know if they will be friends, because we had this little scene where Warner was crying because Juliet broke, like, we found out about Juliet's family, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But he walked in after that little conversation, and he was like, "Hey man, what's wrong with you?" And they had a little bonding moment, but they were still like kind of rude to each other. So side note, Warner eats the cookie with a fork and a knife, which is kind of psycho. Just thought that was kind of weird, but clearly Warner sees food as like an annoyance. It's something that he needs to survive. He doesn't eat food to enjoy it, and Juliet thinks that herself. Like, in the book, she talks about how she placed a cookie in front of him while he was working, and he looked up and was like, "Thanks." And then he ate it with a fork and a knife, and he didn't even seem to enjoy it. So Warner also, as a character, is getting a little bit annoying. He's just, I know that he like grew up like without love, and that he's like raised in a different way. Like a lot of things that would matter to Juliet don't matter to him. But it's getting a little bit annoying because he like doesn't talk at all. Like he can't bring himself to talk about things that they need to talk about, like his past. And moving on to Juliet's family, like, he knew that she was adopted, but he didn't tell her. And like, even if they're dead, it's like, you can't just keep that from her, you know? He thought it wasn't gonna help her to tell her, but that's not the issue here, right? Like, you knew she was adopted, and then you found out that her parents were still alive, and then of course she was gonna get mad at you when you finally told her, right? But I don't know, Warner has that baggage to deal with. He literally tortured her sister, who is still alive, as well as her parents, who willingly gave her and her sister up to the reestablishment. And her sister is still alive and has been tortured for like 12 years by the reestablishment constantly. She's in this water tank with tubes forcing air into her lungs. Like, at what point are you not a person anymore, right? Like, Juliet had a sister. Now she knows that she has family, and Warner just didn't bother to tell her. Like, he just couldn't bring himself to. So, and about moving on from Juliet's family, because there's just so much to unpack there. I'm gonna wait to talk more about it until I finish this book and find out the whole thing. Warner's family. Obviously, we found out Warner and Adam are brothers, and they're trying to make it work, honestly. You know, it's a little awkward, but, like, they both have daddy issues, and they've both been lonely a lot of their lives, and now they're trying to make it work. They're brothering a little bit, but it's still honestly a little weird, but I don't know. I'll see where it goes. I'm not totally against it, but it's a little icky. Anyhow. Not much else to say. We did get a couple of journal entries, like we got some excerpts from Juliet's journals, which I think is really nice, because like in the first book, we already know about her journal, and like we hear about her writing it, and we hear about in later books about Warner reading it, but we never actually get to know what's inside. So I'm just gonna read a journal entry. I wonder what they're thinking, my parents. I wonder where they are. I wonder if they're okay now, if they're happy now, if they finally got what they wanted, if my mother will have another child. I wonder if someone will ever be kind enough to kill me, and I wonder if hell is better than here. I wonder what my face looks like now. I wonder if I'll ever breathe fresh air again. I wonder about so many things. Sometimes I'll stay awake for days just counting everything I can find. I count the walls, the cracks in the walls, my fingers and toes. I count the springs in the bed, the threads in the blanket, the steps it takes to cross the room and back. I count my teeth and the individual hairs on my head and the number of seconds I can hold my breath. But sometimes I get so tired I forget I'm not allowed to wish for things anymore, and I find myself wishing for the one thing I've always wanted, the only thing I've always dreamt about. I wish all the time for a friend. I dream about it. I imagine what it would be like, to smile and be smiled upon, to have a person to confide in, someone who wouldn't throw things at me or stick my hands in fire or beat me for being born. Someone who would hear that I've been thrown away and would try to find me, who would never be afraid of me. Someone who'd know I never tried to hurt them. I fold myself into a corner of this room and bury my head in my knees and rock back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and I wish and I wish and I wish and I dream of impossible things until I've cried myself to sleep. I wonder what it would be like to have a friend. And then I wonder who else is locked in this asylum. I wonder where the other screams are coming from. I wonder if they're coming from me. So, like, you can tell that she's insane. And, like, even in the first book, like, just Shatter Me, from the writing, like, it's all from a first-person perspective. You can tell that, like, she is not mentally stable. And then she's, like, over the course of the 3 books, like, the oh-so-famous strike-throughs start to become less and less common. And when I think there was some, like, they wrote the number 2 a lot in the first book, like the actual number 2, and then spell it out, which was, I don't know what that represented, but it was different, and it was obvious that she wasn't good mentally. And then slowly, like, her thoughts become more articulated, more sane. Like, she won't suddenly go off into a spiel about, oh, I wake up and I see Adam and he has 2 eyes, 2 lips, 2 ears, 2 eyebrows, like, and it happens so gradually that you can, like, see her mentally healing, like, through meeting Adam and, like, finally having someone to socialize with, and, like, finally finding herself and finding her confidence and, like, taking back her life, regaining her freedom. I just think the way Tahira Mafi, like, gradually showed her progress and, like, her mental stability getting better through the course of her journey is just, I think it was done really well. And James, we haven't seen much of him in this book, but the few scenes we have had with him, he's just so cute. His interactions with Warner, he's so nosy, but he's not trying to be rude. He keeps saying, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just, because he's curious about Warner. He's this
big dude
who's never been in his life, and now he's living in the same building with him. But yeah, so that's what I have to say about the book so far. I've read so much that I can't, like, go through all the plot. I've read, I think, about this much since the last time I recorded, so yeah. I'm just blowing through this book. It's honestly, so far, it's like a 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. But yeah, I'll finish it maybe I'll vlog some of it, or I'll read a little bit more. And if there's a lot, I will get back to you guys about it. So those are my thoughts about the last 250 chapters. But yeah, I'll see you guys whenever I see you guys.
Hey y'all, so I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of sick, or I was sick kind of before, but I had a throat infection. My throat really hurts. It might sound weird talking. It was even worse the last few days, so I haven't been able to record my thoughts on Restore Me. I did finish it, actually a week ago, so that's unfortunate. I've already started Define Me, and this is supposed to be a Restore Me video. I'm already this much of the way through Define Me, and I need to skim through it again so I can jot down my thoughts. So I realized, you know what, I'm not going to wait for my voice to get fully better yet. I'm just going to record my thoughts and Restore Me, and hurriedly record the first portion of my Define Me video before the Define Me video ends up being 5 minutes long, because I can't remember. So bear with my voice. Here's the wrap up of the Restore Me book. So I actually gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. It was just really great. So first of all, Kenji and Warner, and they kind of finally had a little bonding. They bonded a little bit when Juliet Juliet and Warner got in a fight. I don't know if I already mentioned it, but Kenji walked in and was like, "Bro, why are you so sad?" And Warner was just sitting there on the floor, and then they had a little buddy talk. Yeah, I just thought that was cute. Also, about Warner and Juliet's breakup, their breakup is kind of justified, because, I don't know, I feel like Warner, despite, it's because he was raised that way, the reason he's not talking about all this stuff, right, about Juliet being adopted. But also, I feel like maybe Juliet could understand a little bit, and they could talk this through. I don't know. But, yeah, maybe they could use some space, for sure. And I was so shocked when Juliet just, freaking shaved her head. The strands just fell down in front of her feet, and I was like, oh, damn. She really did shave her head. Yeah, her hair matches Warner's. No hate to her, honestly. I'm sure she looks great with I'm sure she looks great. Warner thinks so, you know. Anyways, I also noticed that for the POV openings, Juliet's is just blank with just her name in bold text. Warner has this cloud, these gray clouds along the border. I just thought that was interesting. I don't have the book anymore. I've returned it to my library, so I don't know if I can't show you, but. And then at the symposium, she went and just killed the 600 people at the symposium, bro. She went to the symposium, got freaked out, started screaming, and then 600 people just sliced open. I was shocked, honestly. And then the whole gang just drops dead. And boom, the Supreme Commanders of Oceania are Juliet's parents, and they're here to get her. At the time that I read it, I obviously know different now because I'm reading Defy Me. Her parents, I wrote in my notes that they are predictable but cool. I don't know why I said they were predictable but cool, because they're not. They're not. I don't know why I thought that, but that was the big reveal, that they were her parents. Oh yeah, I wrote predictable and cool, because it was a cool reveal, but I predicted that. I kind of saw that coming, because they kept saying, oh, they're coming to take her back, I think in the book before that. So my initial assumption was that her parents were Supreme Commanders. I never had the theory that she had been adopted. I just theorized that her parents are Supreme Commanders, which is why they're coming to take her back. But then they interpreted that differently in the book, they explained it differently, and I was like, oh, so it's not true. But now it is true, so. And after reading this book, with that reveal, I'm realizing that it isn't a main trilogy and then 3 extra books. This really is a full series. It was just initially supposed to be 3 books. So glad I decided to read the rest of it. So yeah, that was me reading Restore Me and divulging to you my thoughts on it, my notes as that I took of it. I will try to be more diligent with Defy Me, but it's going to be hard because I'm already like a lot of the way through and I haven't taken any notes up till now. But I promise that my Imagine Me review will be so much better. Okay, guys. So, with that mess of an end of a video, I bid you farewell and thank you for watching my mess. Okay, bye.
And that, so, she like, who are the daughter, who is the daughter?
I'm buying foggy because I was sick.
Last thing before we wrap this up, because I couldn't get more adhesive, but I thought from us, it's just more than 2 feet, right? And you're just lying half down on the floor, so it's just gonna be just a bunch of